on every continent and has served as the soundtrack for the long freedom fight to end apartheid in his home country of South Africa. And with him, Larry Willis, one of jazz fusion's most accomplished keyboardists. His piano can be heard on many recordings, including the 4-disc CD, which is called Friends, that these two have recorded celebrating the Great American Songbook. He's a Grammy-winning trumpeter, ladies and gentlemen, Hugh Masekela, and this jazz piano master. These two will be playing one show only tonight at 7:30 at Demetrius Jazz Alley. If you want to make reservations or reserve a table for dinner, do it right now. I can't believe they're available, and we're just telling you about it. Go to jazzalley.com or bobrivers.com where we have a link. Hugh Masekela and Larry Willis, let's bring them in musically first and say hello to the Bob Rivers Show.
Somebody tell me what I'm doing here so early in the morning. All the musicians are going to bed from a long, long night. Oh, oh, Bob Rivers, what you doing to us? Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I can smell a Grammy. I smell a Grammy.
that's a Grammy performance right there. Hugh Masekela and Larry Willis, welcome to our show. Thank you for getting up so. And by the way, you look chipper. I mean, you're clearly up early in the morning. You're not just getting to bed, right?
Well, no. I mean, for a 74-year-old man, I'm not doing too bad.
Oh, good for you.
Larry is also a geezer.
He's a geezer. How old is Larry? He's like 160?
70.
You're also 70? Oh. Well, you guys, obviously you love... Well, first off, there's so much to talk to you about, so little time. I don't know where to begin except that your playing is the best in the world. And it's truly a gift to us that you play. Is it a gift to you as well that you can play, or is it all hard work?
No, I don't know if you saw The Exorcist.
Yeah.
It's that kind of gift?
It's not a gift.
It's a curse?
No, it's a bedevilment, but one that I didn't have to get rid of.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't have to exercise it. And like Larry is the same. You
Is it a mission? Is it a calling that you have to play?
No, it's an invasion into your life, and you don't hear,
It's possessed.
and you don't hear anything else but music, and you say, "What the hell can I do? Might as well go on and play."
Wow.
We've both been musicians since we were little kids, and when we met, Larry was 18 years old. I was 21 at Manhattan School of Music in New York in 1960 when Nixon and Kennedy were running for office. So,
Wow. And so, and you're from South Africa.
Yeah, I came from South Africa.
You were schooling in New York.
I came on a scholarship that I got from Miriam Makeba and Harry Belafonte.
Wow.
Yeah, through Miriam Makeba.
They saw the potential in you.
Well, from the time I was a child, all I wanted to do is play, and I gate crashed my way through life.
Look at that.
Like
You are seen as a part of the freedom fight to end apartheid. Nelson Mandela is grateful for what you've done. Tell us a little bit about your experience there. You were exiled from your own country for 30 years, right?
Yeah, but Bob, we grew up in like rallies and boycotts and marches and demonstrations and all that, and I was part of millions of people. If I was a garbage man, I would have done the same thing. I think the real heroes of South Africa are the ones that we don't know, the ones that put their bodies in front of tanks and machine guns and threw stones and died, and their names will never be known. Because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be free. And all those people who made the country ungovernable for all those years until it was bad for business. But we just marching to the drummers.
Why am I not surprised that Hugh is not tooting his own horn? You are very modest about all of that.
No, I think that when it comes to the freedom of people, there are no heroes, and the heroes are the people who free us. The people, there would be no leaders if it wasn't for the people. Right. So sometimes I think leaders get too much due for like the suffering that people have to experience to put them where they are. And half the time, most leaderships have amnesia,
Joe was telling me about some of the stuff I didn't know that you guys were on and have played on. Grazing in the Grass, your biggest hit?
Yeah.
Of all time?
Yeah, it was.
But Joe mentioned some of the other things.
Well, I know when Paul Simon went over to South Africa to record Graceland, you were there for a good deal of that, weren't you?
No, I was on the Graceland tour because I couldn't go to South Africa when Paul Simon.
So you went out and took it to the world, but you weren't actually on the recording.
No, I wasn't on the recording. But me and Paul and Bob Dylan had the same producer in the early 1960s when we started, so we know each other from Simon and Garfunkel days. There was a man called Tom Wilson. Mm-hmm. May his soul rest in peace. And he produced a whole lot of people, so we know each other from there. But when he went to South Africa, I was living in Botswana, and I was living in England already, and he said, listen, I'm going down there. I know you can't go, but if something great happens out of it, would you come on tour with me? So I said, well, let's wait. And then he came back, and a few months later, it had sold 10 million records. And he said, hey, can we go on the road? I don't know how to do it because I played with more than 100 musicians. So I said, well, we can take some of my band. You bring the rhythm section. That's called Miriam Makeba, and we'll have a small...
And you have to skip over South Africa on that tour. You couldn't go back to South Africa during that time.
No. I didn't. I lived in exile for 30 years.
Mm. You mentioned the real heroes are the people who stood in front of the tanks, and that is so true. But for us Americans, the way we found out about the injustices that were going on were a lot through musicians like Paul Simon and Steve Van Zandt when he did I'm Not Gonna Play Sun City. And
well, Miriam Makeba was the first, because in 1963 she addressed the United Nations General Assembly, and of course got banished from South Africa for the second time. But that was the first time that that people really became aware. And then her and Belafonte did a whole lot of resistance songs called An Evening with Belafonte and Makeba. In 1965, it won the Grammy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it took us. I mean, we tried for many years, but it took us 20 years to galvanize everybody. But thank God, by 1985, there wasn't a person, an artist who recorded a CD without having Free South Africa or Free Nelson Mandela or Down with Apartheid in every language all over the world. And I think that's what galvanized the whole world to say, but why are we friends with the government of apartheid? So the great phenomenon is that South Africa was actually freed through music being like the main catalyst of introducing people to what happened. And Paul Simon, when he sold 20 million records, it was to people, most of whom had never heard about South Africa before.
It's amazing. I don't want to turn this into a political thing, but the father of your...
Vote for me.
The father of your country is still alive, and we're praying for him now. I mean, Nelson Mandela is not well, but he is still alive and supposedly improving. That is kind of amazing that he is the man. Do you see when Nelson Mandela moves on that the work you guys have done, that everything's cool, that there will be, from now on, South Africa will be equal?
Well, him and his colleagues did a very wonderful job. They are old geezers right now, and I think that they should be left to rest in peace, or depart peacefully. You can't hang on to 100-year-old person,
right?
And I'm sure. I mean, I hope that they're not keeping him electronically alive,
right?
Because he deserves a rest, and most of his
he deserves his freedom, to go on,
and many of his compatriots. And then another thing that you have to remember is that South Africa was really owned by the old establishment, the privileged old establishment, and there's never been a time in the history of human beings where a people have come and said to another people, sorry, we made so much money by taking your land, by making money on, and raping the raw materials of your country, and we've made billions and billions and trillions. Here's 500 trillion just to show you how sorry we are. That has never happened in the history of human beings, and it's not about to happen. What happened in South Africa was great, but the fact is that the people are still poor because they didn't own the country.
Right.
But they got the vote, and they got harassment from police is not there anymore. But it'll take ages, to like change it around because the privileged always support their privilege. I mean, they really like protect their privileges.
Hugh Masekela, you were honored by the president in 2010 with the, if I say this right, the Order of
Ikamanga.
Is it like knighthood, kind of, in a sense, would be to the British?
I don't know.
What did they give you? Did they give you like a something to go with it, or is it?
A box with the medal, and well, I'll tell you, the first time we got it was when Mandela was retiring. He had the first national honors, and I've known him from childhood and all, and he's a very funny guy. So when I came up to him, he gave me this box and an envelope, with the citation. So I said to him, Tata, we call him Tata, which means father, I said, Tata, I hope there's an envelope with a check in there.
I hope it's a check.
And he looked at me, he said, to get a check in your awards, you have to go to jail for a very long time.
Great humor. All right, you've played for Her Majesty the Queen in 2012. You played on stage with Bono and U2 in one of the biggest concerts ever. You've over 40 albums in 5 decades, but sitting next to you, your friend, you have an album, Friends with Larry Willis. Your friend Larry Willis, 7 years, keyboardist for Blood, Sweat, and Tears, and he himself is on over 300 albums, 20 where he's the leader. So 400. Well, I'm sorry, I got this last week.
Wow. He's a busy guy.
So you know what that means?
With Friends is 401.
Yeah. So we are so grateful that you're here, and what that means is right now we should stop and make sure we have enough time for you guys to play. You guys are going to do like a medley of several things, and your biggest hit will be included, right?
Yeah, we'll give you a cross section.